The EU is not really in the avant-garde of changes. I mean, regulating the financial system. Even the US is more ahead. So what is the EU is doing right now? What are the promising moves or the promising initiatives which are happening now in the EU, or more specifically in the European Parliament? And what NGOs or what common people can do in order to help this process?
Well, first of all, in Europe, decision making is more complicated than in the US. We have no centralized state. We have 27 member countries. They have to agree to any law which is being enacted on the European level, and in financial services there's also the European Parliament. And they have to go together. Our experience was that the member states, most of them, are much more reluctant to put tough rules on finance in comparison to the Parliament. The Parliament is more progressive. There is a long list of proposals now on the table. Some have been voted already. So, for instance, now Europe will have the toughest rules on banker payments and bonuses in the world, so much more favorable to the long-term stability of banks and more socially just than what we see in the US. But on many other issues, still things have not been decided yet. There is a proposal how to make sure that in the future banks are not bailed out by the taxpayer. There is a proposal to ensure that all trading of derivatives, which is the largest part of financial markets, has to be transparent in the future. There's a big proposal to create a European supervisory agent, one for banks, one for insurances, one for funds and stock exchanges, to supervise the European financial system. There's a whole lot of proposals. So what can NGOs do? I think the key thing is that governments are now blocking the process in Brussels. So members, including, I have to say, also governments from Eastern Europe. They are not the progressive actors in Brussels who demand more regulation. So what really we need is that NGOs expose their governments in their home country, where voters are interested in the issues, what they do in Brussels. So you should ask the Hungarian government, which positions did you take on these issues? Did you support tougher rules or did you block them? And if there's a local debate about these issues, then we have a bigger chance from the European Parliament, also from the Green Group, to have progressive proposals in Brussels. I think that's really the most important thing you can do.
One proposal which really came from the civil society is the very famous Tobin tax, the tax on international financial transactions. How do you see the prospects of this very specific proposal in Europe? What can happen to this? Because many nation states are supporting it. NGOs, green NGOs, including Védegylet and ETEC and other NGOs, are also pushing it. So do you think that there is any hope so that this tax will be one day introduced in Europe?
Well, I think the United Kingdom is strongly against it at the moment, so therefore it must be a coalition of the willing. And I think it could happen that the Eurozone will be the core, and then more countries could join, including Hungary. So it would be helpful if the Hungarian parliament or the Hungarian government would take a strong position supporting this. Because so far there has not been a lot of support from Eastern Europe. So it would be helpful if there would be support, and then there could be a cooperation between the countries which want to start with the financial transaction tax.
Kommunista mozgalmak mindig nagyon erősek voltak jelszavakban, meg ki az ellenség, ki a barát, és hogy ezt nem éreztem a beszélgetésben, nagyon töredezett volt. A globalizációkritikus mozgalom úgy indult 2000-ben, hogy say hey, say ho, the IMF has got to go, ezt kiabáltuk Prágába, ehhez képest most így nagyon elvesztünk a részletekbe, hogy ezzel egyetérte.
Mm-hmm. So, last question, the communist movement has been always very strong in launching like strong rhetorics, and buzzwords, and actually even the Globkrit and the alternative globalization movement or the global civil society started also with very strong rhetorics and slogans. like, hey,
say how the IMF has got to go, who drop the debt.
So who is the enemy, who is the friend? But now in this discussion that we had in the summer camp, maybe discussion was very technical and we lost maybe fragmented. So it seems to me that maybe we lost we lost into details and we lost the real insight that who should we be against and who should we support.
Well,
do you agree with this?
No, I don't agree with this, because I think there are different roles. If you go to a demonstration, then people can demand that there are simple slogans and that you try to build a strong momentum. If you invite a person like me who is in the European Parliament, people have the expectations that I don't shout slogans in the Parliament, but that I achieve change. And the Green Group in the Parliament, although we are in a minority position, we have been able to influence a whole number of legislative proposals, including financial ones. And these two roles have to be cooperating, but keeping separately. So if you ask me what we can do in Europe, of course my answers must be technically correct. Citizens respect and also want that they have competent politicians who don't shout stupid empty slogans, but achieve change. And that's what I want to do. And on the other hand, in order to achieve change in the Parliament, it's helpful to have shouting citizens outside. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, all the best, yeah?
Yeah, thank you, Sven. And it was interesting.